Good morning, everybody. We'll be starting in 1 minute. So today we are starting our Hack at Fashion Tech. I welcome you all to the inaugural session of the Fashion Tech Hackathon. We've completed the entire boot camp for 15 days that we did from the 1st till 18th of this month. We now progress to the actual hackathon, and this hackathon is inaugural session is being streamed on the YouTube channel. The participants are requested to join the YouTube channel, which has been provided by Incubate In. So the structure of the program today is that we would be spending another half an hour addressing the registration process in case people have any problem in the registration. For this, I will be inviting Mr. Kaushik Roy from Incubate In. Incubate In is the platform on which we are doing this hackathon. They are our partners. So for any problems, you could contact Incubate In concerned person, and Kaushik will be sharing the details. Then we will have an orientation session, which will begin with introduction to the program and the themes, as well as introducing you to all the partners who are there, who will be providing various inputs from time to time. After 12:30, this session will go till 12:30. At 11:30, we will have a keynote address by Mrinal Gawade, who is a fashion tech expert. He is a key mentor at the Startup Bootcamp Milan, which is one of the top 10 incubators in the world on fashion tech. So we are happy to really have him here today. He will be joining it in little later, and he will deliver his keynote at 11:30. So please make sure that you are online at 11:30. The next session, the next part of the program is on the idea validation. So after the orientation session is over, we will request if anybody has any problem on idea validation, in terms of if they have an issue in understanding how to really go about the idea, they could contact us on smartedge team@gmail.com, or address your issue on the meetup. So anybody who is having a problem, they can actually come on the Zoom call and schedule a session with any one of us. We'd be able to address the issues. There are many experts, mentors who are available on the call. Amey is here, Amey Nirkar. There is Ashok Yadav from my SmartEdge team, and there are other from Ms. Janvi Chadha is there from the JD Institute of Fashion Management. So I'm looking forward to this session, and I'll now invite Kaushik to take over from here and introduce the registration process and how to form teams, as well as how to go about using the platform more effectively, including a brief demo of the entire platform. Over to you, Kaushik.
Yeah, thank you, Dolly Basin. So I'm Kaushik Roy from Incubate IND, and I'll just, without wasting any time, I'll simply just share the screen so that I can let you go through all the steps of how to do the further steps onto Incubate IND platform, and how do you be doing the idea submission and rest of the things over here. So I'm just share my screen. Hope the screen is visible right now. So for every participant, the main action point would be incubate.ind.com/hack/fashion-tech, wherein you would be having all the activities over here. Once you scroll down or have a look onto the page, you will find different activities present over here, whether it is the problem statement, everything has been defined over here. Moving forward, the point of action for each of the team members who have registered. So for those who are not aware, those who had already registered or created a Google, submitted their entries onto the Google form, profile has been created for them, wherein if they visit incubate.ind.com/hack/fashion-tech/login, and you can then add in your email number and then the password, which has been set as fashion@2020, you would land onto this page, which is the hackathon dashboard, as we call it over here. Over here, you can see the first thing that you need to do is that you'd have a welcome message, as well as the steps on how to proceed further with it. The first thing would be to select a problem statement. So what you need to do is select a problem statement out of the three. For instance, I'm just selecting one. Now, once you have selected the problem statement, you would be asked to create a team or join a team. So in case you are the team leader, what you need to do is come over here and then type in the team name. Or else, if you already have found a friend who has created a team, you can enter the team name over here and then send him a join request. So for now, what I do is I'll create a team. So once you have created a team, you can either directly add team members to it by just clicking on this and typing in the email ID of the team member whom you want to invite. Or else what you can do is you can copy the team invite link from here and then share it over onto the WhatsApp or any other platform through which you want to send the invite to them as well. moving on next, the further steps that you need to complete is that submit the idea, wherein you will see the problem statement which you had selected has already been selected over here. You need to add in the idea brief, the tech stack, all the questions that are present over here, and then click on submit idea. You can edit the idea as many times as you wish. It's not an issue. The Slack link would come up over here soon, so that you can directly join the Slack from here and have the conversations from the mentor, or if you have any queries. And if once you have been allotted the mentors and other things, it would all appear over here. So the go-to page for each and every participating member is incubateInd.com/hack/fashion tech, and then onto the dashboard, that is slash dashboard. For those who have not logged in yet, you can go over to incubateInd.com/hack/fashion tech/login. I'll drop in these links into the chat as well, so that you all don't have a worry. So that's all throughout all the actions that you need to do and complete the procedures. Everything apart from this is already present onto the homepage of the hackathon, wherein you can have a brief look at the at the problem statements, the mentors, as well as the jury panel and the schedule. The entire schedule and the benefits, everything has been mentioned over there. So that's it. If there are any queries, I'm up for it.
Thank you, Kaushik.
Yeah, well,
So,
thank.
uh, if you could have the background again for your slide, I will just Kaushik.
Okay, sure.
Huh.
Yeah, sure.
I'd just complete the introduction. Few people have joined it just now, and I just introduce a few things on the sessions before we really move on. So now this is the platform which is available for hacking. Uh, some of you had attended the boot camp, so you are aware about the entire uh, themes, as well as more details about the themes. What we will be doing is, periodically during the hackathon, we will be actually introducing all those pre-recorded sessions to all the participants who have not attended the bootcamp, so that they can also have an access to the program. The basic resources will come on the resource section, and the the current webinars, we will be actually streaming it on your dashboard. So everybody should really familiarize themselves to the to the platform. And this particular session, for about another half an hour, we are just making sure that everybody has a fairly good understanding of the platform. Some of the students are from the fashion background, and they are not very familiar with the terminology that we use in the IT area. So for example, there are some students who are in the fashion sector who have joined in, and they will be working on sustainable fashion. They might not have any source code, so they need not really worry about the GitHub repository. The GitHub repository is for any source code that you have, which might not be applicable for your particular theme. So as I said, that there are 3 themes on which we have to really hack. So these themes are sustainable fashion, wearable fashion, and the mobile and web apps. So most of the code that would be required would be in the web and mobile apps, and in the wearable section. So you need not worry. Some of the students have come back to us and asked about what is GitHub repository, because this terminology might be new to you. You need not really worry about that in terms of the so you just leave that field blank. But what you need to do is to really have a team formed right away. So if there are any queries anybody has in terms of this thing, please reach out to any of the Incubate and or Smart Edge team members, and we will be able to help you resolve it. So the idea is to have all the registrations completed by the today's day in, and make sure that you are all up and running for the program. As we go along, we will have uh, many experts which will join in, and they will introduce themselves and help you to really uh, understand the themes much better. And we have participants who are actual active users of the sustainable fashion. They are basically industry leaders in their own areas. They will also be sharing during the course of the program, and from time to time we will be bringing them over to the hackathon platform after proper information to all the people. So you have a constant stream of support from various industry experts to really share as to what they are doing in their own areas and how they have really developed solutions and what their solution is. And these people will also be available to really give you a lot of insight into the system. Why we are doing this particular hackathon? We're doing this hackathon because fashion, despite the fact that it is a $3 trillion industry, it has some major negative environmental impact. There is a definitive need to support sustainable and digital means to redefine the fashion as an industry. And through this hackathon, we are trying to really bring the entire ecosystem together and see how innovators could really uh, drive the change. The innovators who are either tech entrepreneurs or technology students, and the fashion students and fashion experts, and how we can bring them all together. This is a small attempt that we are making. So dynamic cross circular event which allows all these students, startups, and working professional industry experts from all over India to find possible ways of combining the traditional handlooms and traditional fabrics that we have in India and the fashion tech together. So we need to now spend this week trying to see how we could create innovative technology that will help define the future of fashion. So looking forward to see how we would be in a position to help you all to really get onboarded. And if you have any issues on onboarding, uh, Kaushik and me are the uh, point of reference right now. Any problem in terms of the idea validation and uh, some kind of registration issues, please let us know. And uh, Kaushik, I'd like to really have my screen shared. So if you can stop sharing. So while we are going through the process of registration, if anybody has a problem in registration or in terms of logging in, please use the chat window and share your problem so that we can take it up or send in a email. Somebody would attend to that email. The email ID on which you have to send in your support request is on the top panel of the hackathon platform, that is support at Incubate Ind. So there were some login issues with some of the teams or the participants. One of the common problems that has been posed to us on the registration has been that the migration of the registrants have not been very easy, so they are not able to really do something. So if anybody has any problem in that area, please reach out to any one of us and we will help you take care of the resolving the issues. The other problem that has been there is in terms of looking at the team formation. So Kaushik has just explained you the team formation area. I would like to elaborate that the team formation could be from any of the registered members. So you can collaborate, you can send in a WhatsApp message to your potential possible this thing from the registered participants, and people who are interested in registration can just put up this thing on the Slack channel, which will be activated very soon. Right now, you can send in a request if you are looking for a partner, because there are a lot of participants who have registered as individual. Either they are looking for a team member in the tech area, or they are tech students who are interested in looking at somebody from the fashion area. So we've extended the team formation till 24th. We will be allowing people to really have the tech partners or fashion partners to be joining in your teams. So for the next 2 days, you are welcome to really keep doing the team transformation. But one this thing is that the team leader has to already be registered. So if you are not registered, then you will not be able to really re-register. If you want to invite anybody, you can send in an invite request from either putting in the email ID of that participant or the WhatsApp a number. And those participants would be allowed to onboard till the day end. So if you have anybody that you think that can join in, either from the registered participants or from outside, you can take the time today to really invite them from the platform. There are two buttons which are there that you in the team formation area in which Kaushik had shown. You can ask them to join in into the hackathon, and we will allow them to register even till the end of the day. So that's the initial introduction to the registration process. And if you have any issues, please let me know. Hopefully, you will be in a position to really get onto the solution. We'll request you to keep logged in into the Zoom if you want to have any questions, or you want to really be attending the inaugural session. I think that by 11:30, all of us should come down to the uh, Zoom call so that we can hear the speakers who are lined up for today's program to be on the you can hear them live, and you because most of the invited guests are going to join in from 11:30 onwards. So 11:30 onwards, anybody who has any registration related requests, taking any questions on registration, any kind of problems that you have have on registrations, we can take it on the Zoom chat window live. Uh, so if anybody has a particular problem or anybody wants to join in fresh, there are few people that I have invited in the morning session who have expressed that they want to really participate in the hackathon in one way or the other, in the sense that there are some senior technology experts who are working in this area, and they would like to really be a part of some team who needs help. So we'll request them to really express their interest on the chat window, that what kind of support that you can give and how we could really make the benefit of it. While we are at the program, I'll also say that we have IBM as our partner, and IBM is a world leader in the fashion tech arena, especially with their AI and blockchain offerings. They have worked a lot in AI in fashion, and we had our session 2 in the bootcamp, in which we invited Mr. Sharath, who is the chief data scientist at IBM Research Lab, gave a complete overview and session which was very, very well received. There were over 800 people who watched the session live on Facebook, and we still have at least 100 to 200 views every day. So, and this is cross sectional. We've had students, we have industry professionals as well as others. Seeing this, we have requested the IBM to really do a separate session again during the period of the hackathon. And on 24th, IBM is doing a AI virtual summit, which is on AI and data science. And they have extended the invite to all the participants that they can join in free. And I will be sharing that link to all the participants who are registered during the course of the day, so that you can join in. The advantage that they are giving over and above that, in the whole day, you will get quite a number of master classes, which are be on specific areas of data science and artificial intelligence. And it is structured in such a manner that even a novice can really become an expert, at least to navigate in this industry segment. The other extension that we have from IBM is that you would be in a position to create a separate developer account on IBM, and that IBM account you could use to really register for any event of IBM that they do in future also. Also, you are supposed to really work on the IBM technologies if possible in terms of this thing, and use the developer account of IBM to do the hackathon. Uh, Not only do you have the use cases of IBM Watson, but also on blockchain that would be available to you uh, as a code repository. So you will have an access to some code patterns, which would be available for you to really take it to the next level. Of course, the platform has access to most of the open sourced area, but it would not have for the paid products of IBM, which is mostly the blockchain. Hyperledger is not available as a open source. It's a paid section. But the anybody who attends the AI conference of IBM on 24th also is eligible to really take a IBM Watson course on AI and couple of other courses on Coursera. So you will get the vouchers to really take up these programs once you participate in the So I will request all the registered participants to ensure that you really register for the AI conference of IBM on 24th, and you uh, take those vouchers if you want to really do the course in the next couple of days, whenever you want to do those course on Coursera. Going forward, I would now like to really request some of the current participants of the Zoom call to introduce themselves before we really uh, come to the next session on the orientation. The reason why I want to introduce you to some of these people is that they are going to be the mentors of the program and help you in the registration process. For the registration process, the team is different, but for the mentoring of the idea validation, I will like to request Amey Nirkar to introduce himself. Amey, I'm unmuting you. Can you just introduce yourself, please? Amey? Amey, are you able to unmute yourself? Ashok?
Yes, tell me, ma'am. I'm there.
Yeah. So if you can introduce yourself and Smartage, especially for any technical help that they need, what kind of support that you can give. If you can just introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashok Yadav. I work as a Chief Technology Officer in Strong Moments Technologies. So, if anybody has technical issues regarding the low-level implementation of anything, any concept, or so you can contact me basically on Java, Python, and other applications. So just ping me. You might get my WhatsApp number or any, just in case if I'm not available on Zoom. So and you can contact me and we'll try to resolve that.
So further this thing, we will have these mentors on the Slack and we will have to schedule sessions based on the the availability of the mentors. But the easiest method is to really send in a support message to either Smartage team@gmail.com or a message to the to our participants in the the platform area, Kaushik or anybody at support at Incubate Inc. would be in a position to help you to really stream the. So we have uh,
नहीं पानी
Mrinal, who has already joined in. Very warm welcome to you, Mrinal. Mrinal is our keynote speaker for the next session, which would be starting at 11:30. I'm just helping to unmute you, Mrinal, and you can take the call at 11:30. So in the meantime, Janviji, can I request you to introduce yourself also? Hello, Janviji. Aditya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Aditya. I'm co-founder of Hollywood Labs. We are into robotic arms and we're making robotic arms for SMEs which are network enabled. So imagine all the data that is being used by or processed by robotic arms will be on single cloud and it will be used for future training. That's what we are up to. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Aditya is available with us for the interim jury process and also for the final. He has a rich experience in design and especially in so he's a graduate from NID and has worked extensively in the startup ecosystem. But well, the advantage that we have is that he has the rich experience of being a Y Combinator incubated company. So we'd like to really hear him sometime during the later part of his idea validation session. And you could reach out to him to really ask questions if you have any. So,
Yeah. Super excited to be part of this program. Would love to see all of the projects.
right. Thank you, Aditya, to be with us today.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is Yash there? Yash? Yash Arya, are you there? Because I can't see your. There are a couple of iPhones on the call, but okay. So I think he is not in town. Yash Arya is the one of the hosts of the program. He's from IM Khadi, but he is actually traveling, so not able to really speak because he's logged in from the phone and doesn't have an access to a very good connectivity. So looking forward to the next program, which will start in 2 minutes. I'm just trying to check whether Mrinal is ready to. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, anybody, so I just request everybody, if you are able to really hear me well, just type yes in the chat window so that we can just make sure that the voice is loud and clear. So, Yash, can you just welcome everybody? I know that you have you're logged in from a phone. Yes, Arya. Okay, I think he's having some issues in taking the call. So I will, without further ado, invite Mrinal. He's already in with us, and we'd like to invite him for his session. Mrinal, welcome, very warm welcome to you to the program.
Thank you.
So you would like to have the slides of your own. I will just stop my this thing. So in case you have any problems, just let me know so that we'll.
Sure.
Just to introduce everybody to Mrinal Gawade, he's been kind enough to really accept our invitation and be with us today. Despite that he's here on a personal visit to India, we've been fortunate to really have his presence for area that is his expertise area, which is fashion tech. I would like Mrinal himself to introduce himself so that we know exactly what he does. And we've been very fortunate to have you here, Mrinal, and over to you to really take the session forward.
So just to begin with, should I just say share screen to start my presentation?
Yeah, yes, that's right. That's right. I will just stop the share and now you can
Okay.
share your screen.
Okay. FashionTech share. Okay. So can everybody see my screen? Hello?
Yes, yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So you can see the front slide, right? The FashionTech.
That's right.
Okay. And
That's
my
right.
voice is also audible.
Absolutely.
Okay. So should I start?
Yes, please.
Okay. So hi everybody. Thanks for inviting me and providing me with this opportunity to talk about FashionTech in this Smart Edge event. I will briefly introduce myself. I'm Runal Gavde. Okay, how do I go next? Okay,
Just
sure.
press.
Yeah, I got it. I had to press a mouse click.
Yeah.
Okay, so a quick introduction about myself. I have a PhD in computer science from Netherlands, a master's in computer science from Silicon Valley, UC Santa Cruz, and a bachelor's in Pune University. So I'm quite fortunate to have education on 3 different continents, which has given me some nice understanding of different aspects of industry, academia, etc. After that, I have started my whole company called Holofill, and you can see a glimpse of that. It's a physical device that creates visualizations like a hologram inside the device. And what you see here is an example that could be applicable in, say, fashion tech, where you have a girl which is dressed like a model and she's dancing. And the things that are around her are more like a physical object. So you can combine physical content with virtual content to create some interesting virtual experiences for branding, marketing, etc. So this is where I'm associated with fashion tech as a founder in some sense, and this is where my expertise and other related aspects are. Apart from that, I'm a professional photographer and I'm also a Fashion Tech Milan accelerator mentor, which is an accelerator in Milan, which is heart of the fashion tech world. Also, I'm a creative person. So uh, when we think of fashion, the thing that we think traditionally is always, oh, the models, the designers, the ramp walks, the Instagram, etc., etc. That's how always the fashion is looked at. But and this is how fashion has been traditionally always. But if you look at it from the last 10 years overview, there is a lot of advent of technology that is happening into fashion, like in any other field. So I'm going to give a quick overview of the entire spectrum of what is fashion tech, in what spectrum it fits into. Apart from that, so that's my first half of talk for around 10 minutes, and then I'm going to talk about specifically the fashion tech into XR, which is into VR, AR, etc., which is my field and mostly focused on the retail technology perspective. So as an overview, fashion tech, I would categorize it mostly in 4 different channels: sustainability, industry 4.0, omni-channel retail, and AI in fashion. And there is a lot of stuff happening in this field from all different perspectives, essentially. And we have to think about it from different angles of sustainability, which is a big issue because fashion is a big polluting industry. To create a single piece of cloth like shirt, you waste thousands of liters of water. Then there is a lot of wastage in recycling, in landfills, etc., that happens. Recently there is a big trend in happening in AI in fashion. How do you integrate machine learning and related stuff to make the life of designer easy, and also integrate technology? If you look at the manufacturing side of the fashion, which is where the industry is doing the manufacturing of fabric, that's where you have new technologies from industry 4.0, etc., that I will give brief overview. And at the last, retail, which is the omni-channel retail end of the fashion tech, in which you have the front face of fashion in terms of retail stores, marketing, influencer tech, etc., etc. So these are the kind of problems that we are seeing in fashion technology. So a big problem that should come to anybody's mind who is from fashion industry: okay, if I have a fashion tech startup, what is the exact problem I should be solving? What is the exact problem I should be focusing on? Because there are so many different problems that exist. So from that perspective, this talk is going to give you some glimpse into everything, and you have to pick it up from your expertise, your inclination, and what is it that you like. So focus on sustainability as a first. Sustainability can be further divided as a problem into 4 different angles, which is something like fashion as a service. How do you reuse fashion, like clothes, etc., that are lying in your wardrobe, by offering them as a service on rental, etc.? there are a lot of platforms which are being created in this field, and it's more like a peer-to-peer system for lending and reusing the wardrobe, etc. Because there are so many unused fashion clothes that are lying idle in clothes of women, etc. There is a big trend of using recycling and upcycling of fashion, specifically from clothing perspective and also from the materials perspective. And there are a lot of platforms which are also being created to facilitate this kind of a matchmaking between the person who has the stock material versus who wants it, etc. And also, how do you upcycle it? How do you bring new clothes out of reused clothes, etc., etc. So there are a lot of trends that are happening in this area. Another big trend that is happening in the last 10 years is also how do you source ethically created clothing for fashion related industry using the entire source of supply chain using blockchain, etc. So blockchain is basically a distributed ledger. It's like a distributed database which is not centralized, so you can maintain a transparency on it using algorithms. And how do you maintain the entire traceability of different supply chain integrations into this, and how can a person who is interested into a good ethically sourced fashion brand can understand that, oh, this material that I'm using is actually being sourced from an ethical supplier. So those kinds of things can be done, and there are a lot of people doing this kind of work using blockchain. And at the end, there's a big movement that is happening which is focused on sustainable brands. So far what we have been seeing is the traditional fashion brands are basically using some labels in their fashion category that are say, okay, this is part of our portfolio which is created sustainably. But there is also a movement coming where the brand want complete sustainability, and there are a lot of startups like e-commerce aggregator platforms which are allowing you to find sustainable clothing so that you can source everything in terms of your fashion choices from different suppliers of brands on a single platform, essentially. So that's mostly about sustainability. The next big thing that is happening, I would say, in terms of fashion, in terms of disruptor, is AI. So I'm going to talk briefly about what is AI in fashion. AI is nothing but artificial intelligence, and it's mostly AI is good at solving repeated problems that are mundane, that are sometimes takes a lot of understand and a lot of boredom. It also is good at predicting by looking at the past data so that you can predict the future demand, etc., etc. It is also good at creating patterns, etc. So AI in fashion is being integrated in different form factors in terms of things like, for example, if you focus on AI in design. So traditionally, the industry is always using hand created designs where a designer is creating the designs, patterns, etc. There are platforms that are being used to create these designs artificially by letting the AI machine learning algorithms learn a lot of patterns and predict the patterns or create the patterns and integrate them with the fashion designer to create better fashion. So that way you take a lot of chunk of repetitive work out of fashion designer's hand and integrate AI into that. There is also a lot of stuff happening in the 3D ecosystem. Traditionally, a designer always uses physical tools like a lot of prototyping. So there is a lot of wastage of material. There are a lot of tools that, like, for example, Marvelous Designer, Cilio, which are digital 3D platforms, which allow you to create 3D fashion clothes. And you can then create these clothes virtually. You can try them and then you can discard them. You can also create virtual catwalks, etc. Similarly, there is a big thing that is happening, which is AI in media creation. Traditionally, when you want to portray fashion, it's being done using some model shoots, etc., by draping models on interesting clothing, etc. A big thing that is happening in that is you are creating completely fake models using AI. So you are giving a lot of photos of past models and creating completely fake virtual human models that are being draped with new clothes, and you are getting rid of the entire industry of fashion photo shoots because you don't need a physical model. You are creating virtual models. So there's a lot of stuff happening in that area using AI. And then the last is AI in inventory management, in which you are trying to manage the entire supply chain of how much stocking you should have in your fashion brand clothes, so that when there is a demand for that, you can forecast it so that you don't need to stock a lot of clothing, etc. So using the previous data, brands are able to understand what would be in demand, what would be in future, and then you can use that, which is a traditional forte of AI in inventory. So that's mostly about AI in fashion and how it's being used. Then I will give a quick overview of Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 is nothing but use of different latest technology like Internet of Things, sensors, smart analytics, etc., to understand how to improve the manufacturing process by using minimal waste and improved efficiency of product and processes. So a lot of things happening in that processes are mostly some things like smart analytics. So you are integrating a lot of data that is coming from different sensors, etc., to predict when the machinery will fail, how to inspect the quality, etc. So that's mostly at the manufacturing side. The manufacturing processes themselves have been improved. For example, dyeing as a process wastes a lot of water. There is a lot of effort to improve dyeing as a process at hardcore manufacturing level so that fashion can be made sustainable. There are a lot of interesting aspects of how do you maintain the quality. For example, how do you use ultrasonic, etc., kind of a technologies to understand the defects in the fabric manufacturing so that you have a better quality. So that's mostly in the manufacturing processes. There's a lot of emphasis on smart materials in which you are creating really interesting fabrics which are sweat absorber, which are reacting with bacteria, etc. So when you are wearing it for sports purposes, it creates a different feeling, etc. Or materials that take a lot of stretchability. So a lot of things are happening on that front. And finally, robotics, which is like automation of the entire assembly line, where if you have a shoe creation industry, you are having an entire assembly line in which robots are manufacturing the shoes, etc. So a lot of stuff. So this is industry 4.0, especially, which is focused mostly on the manufacturing side of the fashion industry, which is in the backside. And then the last thing is omni-channel retail, which is mostly what is the front face of fashion that we see when we go to any fashion shop, when we go to any brand, say Louis Vuitton, Dior, etc. We see these massive, nice stores with nice kind of interior decoration. So, and apart from that, the proliferation of e-commerce, in which you have a lot of things happening in terms of smart e-commerce, in which people are integrating things like how can you create a complete 3D ecosystem of products so that you don't need to see a physical a 2D image of a purse, but you can see an image, you can do different kinds of product configuration, you can change its color, you can change its design, and then you can see ads in 3D. So that's mostly in e-commerce, but in 3D perspective. Then there is a lot of stuff happening in the social influencer tech, which is prominently through different types of marketing, like social Instagram influencer models. How do you promote Instagram influencers? There is a lot of stuff happening in the personal styling area, in which you are using AI for creating different mismatch of clothes. There are platforms, there are apps that are happening in that area. Then a big thing that is happening is also in store management, in terms of how do you understand the footfall of people walking into your stores? How do you monitor their behavior? How do you keep a loyalty program for customers so that using interesting database integration, you can offer a better experience to your retail client, etc. And a lot of brands are interested in this kind of a hand-holding to give a nice experience to the end client. And of course, the last, which is AR, VR, MR, which is together called XR technologies, in which I'm going to talk further more in my next talk. So this was mostly, so far I was trying to give an overview of what is entirely fashion tech, which can be categorized into sustainability, then industry 4.0, then AI in fashion, and mostly omni-channel retail. And now I'm going to talk a bit about XR in retail tech. So the major problems that are in this area, which are being solved, because my company is also in this area, I have a better understanding of this area and what is happening in terms of actual companies that are working in this area. So you can categorize them in this different fields. First is the measurements. It's a big problem, and there are a lot of startups trying to do a lot of stuff in this area. The measurements is mostly like fitting, because e-commerce allows people to buy clothes, buy shoes, but then they don't fit them properly. So there is a lot of problem of wastage of shipments in terms of returns, and a lot of these go into landfills. So how do you solve that problem? Then branding and marketing, how do you present your products in a better way in a retail kind of a setting or in e-commerce kind of a setting, so that the customers are loyal, customers are influenced to buy more. So a lot of stuff is happening in that area. In a similar manner, virtual store experiences, in which you are creating a completely different user experience to navigate the e-commerce stores, rather than the traditional image-based, list-based browsing, in which you see different images and you click and you add to the cart. A lot of different, like 360-degree overview of the stores, etc. A big push is coming into 3D e-commerce, in which people are integrating the entire supply chain of 3D e-commerce in 3D ecosystem of models. For example, if you're interested to buy shoes, you can see that shoe in 3D on your website. You can integrate that, and you can do a lot of different stuff with that. Then again, virtual try-ons like smart mirrors, or if you want a specific personalized spec that fits in your eye, like eyeglasses, etc. So those kinds of things, using different apps or different types of sensors. And the latest one is virtual fashion shows because of COVID, because everything closed that was physical. So brands have moved to fashion shows that are virtual now, so that you can show the entire range of category of clothes that are created for some kind of a selection of season from big brands in a virtual way. So I'm going to give a bit more overview of each of these aspects further in this. So coming back to the first problem, which is body shape measurements. Every person has a different body shape in terms of different categorization. So this is a problem that many companies are trying to solve using different technologies, such as say 3D scanning of body and creating a 3D model, and then that is being measured, or using pictures like front facing picture and the side facing picture, and then using AI and algorithms to predict the measurements of each measurement. And they say, okay, we produce 39 measurement, we produce 100 measurements, depending on the different fit. Or this is only for body, but then there are specific applications being done also for foot. For example, if you're trying to fit a shoes, so there are dedicated scanners available from different companies that allow you to only scan shoes and then have a perfectly fitting shoes. So a lot of these are using technologies such as 3D scanning, AI in computer vision, and there are dedicated scanners, etc., that are being used. There are dedicated conferences which are focused on scanning. So this is a big industry, and a lot of people are trying to solve this, because this is a big problem essentially, and no one knows at the moment who is going to be really successful. Then the next one is a bit about branding and marketing experiences, which is another big thing in omni-channel retail. And here you can see my product, which is Holoful, which is creating a nice virtual experience, unlike the head-mounted glass displays. This a physical device like a TV screen, and inside you see nice images which are 3D, like a hologram. And you can use it for hosting different 3D models. You can have virtual catwalk where models are walking. You can, a designer, when it's designing 3D clothes, they can be rendered in that, and you can see them, and you can place this device on your counter on different places, so that when people are moving around, they get attracted towards that, and that way they interact better with the brand rather than seeing it on a television screen or something like that. So this is basically creating a nice branding and visual experience. So we have clients in different branches, and fashion is one of the verticals we are targeting. The next one I told earlier was virtual store experiences, in which rather than having a standard e-commerce setting where you are seeing tiles of different products and with their prices, companies like Obsess, which just raised a lot of funding, are tying up with big brands like Dior, Louis Vuitton, etc., to create a completely virtual store in which people are walking, they are selecting. It's like a real store, but in a VR environment, AR environment, or simply the desktop environment, in which you have a 360-degree view, and you can then do the tagging of different products, then selecting it, then a lot of stuff is happening. And there are multiple companies doing these kinds of things using different technology and different types of background resources. The next one is 3D e-commerce. This is focused mostly on the website related branding, because every brand now is trying to sell on online, but mostly people like the thing that you see there are 2D images, while this is basically trying to show how you can have a complete 3D experience by integrating 3D models and allowing it to say configurable. So here on this headphone, you can select the orange color to a different color by selecting a configuration menu of the color option, or the purple color to a different color. In the same way, you can use it for jewelry selection, boot selection, some clothing pattern selection, etc. So companies are going in that way to create a more personalized experience for offering better resources on 3D e-commerce. Then you have something called virtual try-ons, which is really a good thing in these COVID-related days, because people don't want to touch things. And this is something, an application from Ray-Ban. And this is something I actually found useful because just 2 days back, I was in a store trying out different shades of goggles for me. And then because of COVID, that person was asking me to keep it aside so that they could sanitize it. Now, if they had such an application, it would be an easy thing for them, because I could just scroll through a lot of spectacles on my head, and then I can see how it looks. So with advent of COVID, etc., these kinds of things are becoming even important, because you can have an app for trying different types of shades, etc., on your head, and it will look nice. Similarly, you can have smart mirror and these kinds of things. And then the last one is virtual fashion shows, which is also a recent phenomenon because of COVID, because in summer everything stopped. So a lot of brands like moved to completely virtual fashion shows. And a company from India that I know got really big in this because they have this 3D model creation, virtual fashion show related ecosystem. And they launched a lot of these products in August, and they are quite big and they are trending quite well with big brands. So this is mostly what is fashion tech about, as I give an overview of that. It can be categorized into different areas. Then I focused on a specific aspect of it, which is mostly omni-channel retail, because that's where my company is focused on. Now, the important part is traditionally fashion has always been looked into as a traditional industry, but now because of the integration of the technology, a lot of things are changing, and it is very critical that the fashion designers, etc., become integrated with this technological approach. And there is a school of fashion design which cannot really teach a lot of things in technology because it's a different school. And how do you combine these things together to create fashion technology related products, etc.? So that is where the role of incubators, accelerators, and these kind of creative ecosystems come into picture big time, like what SmartEdge is trying to do. Because we need these kind of ecosystems that bring these things together from the industry perspective, from the design schools perspective, from the from the fashion designers perspective, so that in India or in the world, because this is relatively new field, these kinds of things can be integrated. And I believe having this kind of a program done in India in a leading way could give the understanding of what is happening in the background from fashion technology perspective, so that the related stakeholders can be brought together to create a nice ecosystem that will survive, that will churn out more products, that will churn out successful startups. And that's mostly about what fashion tech is about. And this is basically my talk, and I'm really thankful for giving me this opportunity for providing this overview. And I really hope the SmartEdge progresses further in this line of thought and create some successful products and form some successful companies. Thank you. You can find more information about me on my personal website here.
Thank you so much, Mrinal. It was such an interesting session that I just got glued into it, and I know that there are at least 25 people right on the Zoom call, and and these are mostly our partners and mentors who are here. There are almost about 100 odd registrants of the hackathon, which are viewing you online on YouTube channel. And I think we have almost about 200, I think, on the YouTube channel right now. So have different partners that are there. And if you can take some questions, I'd like to really have some of our very good participants, which I have invited on the Zoom call, who would like to really interact with you. Also, I would like to introduce you to some of our mentors who are here, so that they can also really share some of the things that they are doing, and maybe just get introduced. That's the so I'd like to invite Amit, who is actually the one who introduced me to you. So I'd like to have Amit welcome Mrinal. And Amit ji, can you, I am unmuting you.
Sure.
Amit Raje, yes, please. I've unmuted you. You can. You'll have to switch off your. Yeah. Yeah. So welcome, Amit ji. Just wanted you to formally welcome Mrinal on the show, and I'm very thankful to you to have introduced us. And I think it's been a great session that he has given, and so many people have been watching him live. There were some issues in the initial casting of the YouTube channels. People could not have an access to the link, but please.
So, thanks so much, Dolly, and thanks, Mrinal, for accepting the invite. I think it's a nice Sunday morning today. Everyone's at home. There's no excuse to be anywhere away from home in today's times. So it's a great day to get into this very interesting topic of looking at the intersection of fashion and technology. I met Mrinal, I think this was almost 1.5 years ago or so, or about a year ago, when I was traveling to Europe and I visited an incubator in Amsterdam. And the CEO said, you have to meet this startup who's doing some very fascinating work in the area of virtualization. And I walked up to his office, very interesting office, where he had all these prototypes that he demonstrated to me. And the way, one could clearly see that he was able to bring out life into these brands and these displays through the holofill technology really caught our attention, and we got talking. And we have had a lot of interesting conversations over the years, over the year, talking about some of the things he has been doing, some of the things we could possibly look at facilitating from India in terms of manufacturing his product, and also in terms of taking this idea to customers here, to other channels here. It brings this very interesting aspect that is very relevant today, more relevant today than any other time. That we live in a world, the way Thomas Friedman describes in his book "Thank You for Being Late." He talks about these waves that are hitting mankind. Right? There's a wave of technology, of course. Murphy's law is proving itself. For several decades, and things are getting smarter, smaller, more and more powerful. Then there is a wave of globalization, which basically helps anything to come from any corner of the world to the other corner. And then there is a wave of climate change, where things are impacting our planet in unprecedented ways. So historically, all these waves have been coming in at their own sweet pace. It took some time before we started moving from horse carts to cars, but now what is happening is that each of these waves are actually becoming tsunamis in themselves. And then besides that, they're all converging simultaneously onto our society. And so what's happening is that, no person, no society, no nation, no scientist, no one is really able to see through where we are really heading. And then on top of that, when you apply a layer as as dense as the COVID-19 situation, which has suddenly disrupted every element of the world that we knew, has created such an interesting situation for all of us, that when we look at any subject, particularly today, when we look at the intersection of fashion and technology in this hackathon, there are so many interesting possibilities. So I really look forward to the developments in these sessions in the coming days. And once again, thanks, Mrinal, for sharing your thoughts. In fact, I had a question for Mrinal, as to from his perspective, how do you see the disruptions that are evolving, and what are the lowest hanging fruits, and what are the biggest bastions that you think are clearly going to get overridden very quickly in the world of fashion and technology? So on that note, let me pause for now. Thanks again, Dolly, for getting us in as an incubator. We are very excited to be part of this journey, and I'm looking forward to some crazy and great ideas coming out of this hackathon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amit. And before Mrinal responds to your question, I want to thank you again for coming and sparing your Sunday morning with us. we are looking forward to really have some of the winners of the program actually incubate with us, and we can accelerate the process. I, for one, am very, very hopeful that we have some very interesting ideas. Within our group itself, we have a couple of very good innovators who have been innovating for last couple of years, especially in the health wearables area. And one of them is Vikshit, who would go in next to ask the next question. Uh, Thank you again. He has been working, and he'll ask the question and probably introduce himself. He's one of our Smart Edge members. We have a small group of innovators which have been interacting with each other and trying to see how we could help each other to grow and develop the local ecosystem. And till date, we've actually supported something like about 36 hackathons. This is 37th that we are doing. And amongst this, I think we have a lot of innovators really getting on to the national level grant programs and some of the international connects. So thank you once again, Amit ji, and over to you, Mrinal, to really take the question.
Sure. So what I see is there is a clear trend. There are, as I said, there are a lot of people doing similar stuff. For example, the measurement problem is a big problem. Everybody's trying to solve it. Like, how do you make the body fitting clothes, etc. There are like hundreds of startups trying to do those things. And as you will get more and more advanced sensors, like for example, in your phone, you will have 3D sensors. Like I have a Samsung phone that I got from my mother, like for 13,000. And it has a 3D depth sensor integrated into that, which was not the case earlier, which was only on iPhone 11, say some 4 years back. So this is going to really be amazing because you will have a real good 3D measure of your body, etc. So that is going to be really becoming very commonplace, where you are taking body measure, etc., using different integrations so that you can have a perfect fitting. So I'm pretty sure, since so many people are working on this problem, that problem is definitely going to get better and better in terms of commonplace integration. The other big thing that I think that is not so, but that is more on the consumer side, because there are two aspects of fashion: the consumer facing aspect and the back facing aspect, which is creating better processes, creating better designs. So I think there's a huge thing happening using AI in fashion related stuff that is happening in the background, and it is becoming really good really fast. Okay, for example, just next to me in Amsterdam, there's a company called La La Land, which recently won a 50,000 euro prize from Philips for the best innovation this year. And what they're doing is they're creating fake humans. Okay, so they are creating fake humans that could be put different clothes, completely eliminating the need of a physical photo shoot for a brand to put their clothes on. So imagine the amount of money the brands will save just by get rid of all this shooting, because you need thousands of these shoots. It takes a lot of time, a lot of money, etc. So that's an industry which is going to directly affect the photography, the fashion model, etc., those kinds of things. And it is going to happen very soon, because it's happening. I have seen those results. They're super nice. Just by tweaking some parameters, by training the models, you get these amazing, indistinguishable humans which are completely fake, putting clothes, etc. And this is going to get integrated. This 3D ecosystem in fashion is going to also move very rapidly in terms of how you are integrating the 3D e-commerce. I know a couple of companies very well from Amsterdam, from Paris, from London, who are really using different aspects of AI by uploading pictures of photos of, say, a actual image. They are creating a 3D model essentially, and that is being integrated. So they are creating a seamless pipeline of how do you see different products on website in 3D visualized way, etc. So a lot of push is going to be there in terms of 3D e-commerce, and the traditional way of looking at pictures of Amazon by clicking different images because you have different aspects of views, that is going to be gone. Amazon itself is working on these kinds of things, right? So I would say then the other big thing that is happening also is how do you integrate AI to create designs. There are a lot of companies doing this thing, and that is also moving very fast, because once you have a reasonably trained AI, that can predict designs, that can create designs, there is no stopping to that. It's only going to get better, and it's going to get better very fast, essentially. So you will not have a designer creating physical designs by spending tons of times. Instead, you will have a tons of designs that will be spit out of by AI, and then you choose or you tune them. So that's like an assistant to a designer to get rid of small details that the designer otherwise would spend. So I would say in a holistic sense, the 3D ecosystem in the e-commerce or retail world, or the AI in design process or the photography, are going to be the big disruptors very soon, essentially. And we are completely leaving the manufacturing side aside, because that's something happening completely differently there. But in terms of what we see as a consumer in the front, this is what I see is a big disruptor.
Great. Thank you very much for answering. Amit, do you have any further question, or if I can invite others? Yeah, please. 1 minute.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mrinal. Just a very quick comment. I can already see one of our incubatees jumping with excitement on the prospect of something like 3D measurements coming of age, because she has very interesting fashion wear, which is like a easy to wear sari, to really make sari a global, apparel,
Right.
and some interesting concepts about how you can also just have an invisible pocket so you can store your mobiles and other such things.
Right.
Swati, I think, is probably a part of this hackathon with the startup Asim Shakti. So would love to, exchange and connect notes. But, I just wanted to draw a point that, if we look at like the classic Oxford definition of fashion, it's basically, it talks about fashion being a popular of the latest style of clothing, decoration, or behavior. And I think I want to underline and emphasize this aspect of behavior, which requires something to be very naturally receptive. As techies, we, it's quite possible that we kind of go overboard with some of the features and some of the extraordinary capabilities that technology provides. But on the human side of the acceptance curve, there is a slightly different story that plays out.
Sure.
So, I see this as a great initiative here, Dolly, that we have probably a lot of people who are coming in from the fashion world who basically work on empathy and design, and then they are trying to connect the dots through technology. Just remembered a little funny incident, and I'll stop at that. I used to work in a company in the US, and I had this colleague of mine who was a tech enthusiast, second generation Chinese American, used to imagine tech in everything. And this was like 1997 when he was saying that, hey, at the end of the day, I wish that I have a car in which I can just go and I can just sleep in it, and the car just takes me home and then wakes me up and I reach there. So he was on this ride of fancy, in so many senses. And then I had this boss, his name was Dave. He was a very cool, guy with very few words, kind of like the Amitabh Bachchan of Sholay, and he listened to all of that and he said, Albert, I think what you really need is a horse, because a horse can actually do that loyal thing of taking you where you want to go and wake you up. So we all have to remember that we are dealing with human material here. So how do we blend in technology to human requirements, needs, and demands is really going to decide whether or not any of these initiatives take root. So with that, thanks so much for taking that question, Renal, and over to you, Dolly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you. I think I have an array of people who all want to interact with this thing, but I will, the first person that I would request to really go is Vikshit. Vikshit, can you just ask your question?
Yeah, hi.
Vikshit?
Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Morning. Thanks for that, and Dolly, ma'am. And my question was basically, I wrote it on the chat that what do you see the role of 3D printing in sustainable fashion? Given your experience,
Right. So
knowledge.
sure. So if you look at 3D printing, there was always this big hope that 3D printing is the next big thing that is going to revolutionize everything, going to make a lot of production a lot of easier, accessible. And this has been in the news for almost 10 years now, but 3D printing didn't take off the way it was supposed to be there, simply because of a lot of things. For example, there were some inherent problems in the rate at which some things could be printed. So 3D printing stayed at a stage where it was limited to prototyping or small scale manufacturing, etc. Simply because the scalability was not possible, simply because the processor didn't mature further. So that's how the 3D printing is always viewed in the current sense. Now, if you look at it in the fashion sense, there's already something called print on demand that is happening in fashion. And I have seen some startups doing that. And they are using some specific type of, and it's a machine which is already existent in the market, maybe from China or some places. And if you saw, it has a specific name which I forgot, but that's the counterpart of 3D printing in fashion, in which you are not creating something in the inventory just right now constantly, but you are printing it on demand. And that is something which is also linked to sustainability, because you don't need to have an inventory of things which is going waste in landfill, etc., but you only print it when you want it. And there is already some momentum that is happening in that space. Now, how much successful it is going to be is a different question, because there are different market aspects of their like commercial aspects of that. But as a technology, that thing exists, and that thing has been being done for some time now in some sense.
Abhishek?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abhishek? Abhishek? 1 minute. I'll just.
Thanks so much. Yeah. Sorry. Thanks so much. Actually, I thought I should mute myself. That's why. Thanks so much for the answer. Thanks.
No problem.
Okay. So we also have another participant on this thing. If you have a few minutes, can you take up one or two other questions?
Sure. Of course.
Okay. So Archana is here. Archana is will introduce herself. She is also a part of our team, Smart Edge team, who is been instrumental in putting this together today. And she is from US. Over to you, Archana. Why don't you ask your question, and welcome to the show. Yeah, Archana.
Hi, can you see me?
Oh,
yes.
Sorry. There you go.
I can.
Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Your video is not in. Right.
All right.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Dolly. Thanks for introducing me. Really enjoyed the session, though I have to say I joined in a little late. So if I've missed out on something incredible, I hope I get a chance to watch it again. I have a couple of questions, and Dolly and I have been talking about these issues for a while. So she knows my interest in sustainability. I'm an anthropologist by training, and I'm also a design researcher. And I've worked with a few startups, both in India and the US. And at the same time, I'm doing my own PhD research as well, and I've been teaching for several years. So I'm going to bring in two very somewhat related, but at the same time, I hope if you have answered those questions, I apologize for asking them again. One is related to what Amit just mentioned. It's the human-centric point of view, right? We sort of emphasize so much on technology. And I mean, technology has played incredible role in the history of fashion. Everything from buttons to sewing machine, you name it, they're all technologies, right? They introduced and they completely changed the way we think about fashion. We think about clothes and garments and such. So incorporation of technology is not new, right? But I think the history of fashion, and I'm bringing a little bit of from my own experience of having also taught about fashion before, is we've always had a very mainstream kind of an understanding of who should wear what kinds of clothes and what we are designing, who are we designing for. And we've come a long way since then, of course. We are now talking about different body shapes, body types, and whatnot. And I wonder how currently with the use of digital technology as such now, AR, VR, you name it, and how do we ensure that we keep that momentum now that we have come this long way, in ensuring that fashion is inclusive, right? So when you're talking about fashion and technology, how do people here ensure that when they're thinking about whatever they are designing, whatever they are making, it's inclusive? And not just in terms of body types, in terms of income and such. How do you make it inclusive? So that's my first question. The second I have is about sustainability. Of course, sustainability is we are still working on it. And now it's all the more important that we need to work on sustainable solutions. And I think we have the means to do that. But how do you make this intersection between fashion, technology, and sustainability mainstream now? So that it's not just conversations, right? It's not just in these conversations, but it's out there. Thank you.
Yeah. So, when you say inclusivity, I think what you mean is more from the perspective of, as you said, there are different body shapes, there are different types of things, or so how do you ensure that different parts of the society, etc., are part of this process, right? So that's what I feel you mean. So what I think about that is, for example, so there's a big kind of a bias that is happening here also, in some sense, depending on, for example, if you look at AI in fashion as example, as a use case. Now, AI, what is AI? AI basically is training on some data models, and then that is being used to predict something future. So basically, if your base data models, samples, etc., are not inclusive, then you are again introducing a big bias, essentially, right? So like in terms of facial recognition, if you're only having white males, then if a black female or black male comes into picture, then that is not going to get recognized. So it's a similar thing. So there is a lot of movement that is also happening in this aspect, in which you want to have an inclusive data set, so that you can have a mass aspect, of broader level aspect and reach of things. For example, last year I was in a conference called 3D Body Scan in Lugano, where I was exhibiting in Switzerland, where there were papers written by African researchers and presented, which were showing how the African woman's body shape is never represented, essentially, right? So the emphasis now is this is something that can happen only by having this kind of a talk in the mainstream media, in the academic setting, in the commercial setting, and ensuring that the designers or the researchers or the technologies who are creating these models, the training data sets that are going to be used to create the prediction or future measurements, etc., are already aware of these kinds of things. So this is going to happen purely by these kind of mass level awarenesses, because at the moment there's a commercial angle to that. Like, who is your customer, who is your target? If you're targeting fast fashion, who is the millennial your thing? If you're targeting incredible luxury fashion, who is the extreme rich person who can afford your bags, etc. So the fashion always had these weird concepts of, for example, they will like to keep exclusivity, so they would destroy the stocks than sell it at the cheaper price. So how much inclusivity with the brand itself wants, it's also a question, because so that's where also a lot of consumer related forces coming into picture, where the consumers are saying, oh, we are not going to purchase from this brand unless we know that this brand is sourcing the material ethically. They are using this credentials or certification that we want. So there's a lot of movement also happening big time on sustainability from the technology perspective, where consumers are becoming aware that they only want these sustainable products, and brands are being forced to adapt. So it's always a kind of a mixed balance between the commercialization, the social awareness, the ethicalness of that, and the kind of a social cohesion. And I believe it's not a magic bullet problem that can be solved just like that. It's only after these sustained efforts in terms of sustainability, a lot of awareness, that this kind of a problem can be tackled in a good way, essentially. So I would say that is mostly the answer to your first question. And can you just please repeat the second question again?
Thanks, Dolly. I also muted myself at that time. So yeah, no, actually, you have sort of answered my second question as well in terms of sustainability and incorporation of sustainability. What I meant was fashion. You've talked about this. Fashion has been very destructive, if you think about it, when it came to climate and when it came to sustainable solutions and such. My question, I think, is more about how do we make it mainstream that, fashion needs to go hand in hand with sustainability and sustainable solutions, and so that it doesn't stay in these small areas where we are talking like right here, but it's actually mainstream where people have real challenges. You said water consumption is tremendous when it comes to now this is a real issue.
Right.
But when you go and you talk about it, so fashion is not just about dressing fashionable, making fashionable, things, but it's also all these other accessory extra things that are there incorporated. So how do you incorporate that into making sure that it's a more mainstream kind of an, whatever comes from now on, it's more mainstream.
Right. So as you said, I partially answered some of that essentially in my previous question, but now focusing solely on that again, that is going to come only by having the stakeholders involved in the process more aware, essentially, because that push is going to come from the stakeholders. Because it is always seen. For example, if you look at chocolate industry as an example, okay, now people love chocolates. They like to eat chocolates. They are given as a gift in romantic sense or whatever sense, corporate sense. But if you look at the back end of the chocolate, where the chocolate material is sourced, most of it is child labor, essentially, from Ivory Coast, where there is huge cocoa plantations, etc. And now, if you look at the mass movement that happened in the chocolate industry, in which the Nestle, for example, was refusing to take any kind of a social responsibility of what is happening there, saying, "Oh, but we are not employing those people. We are just getting the material from our suppliers." And to suppliers, so there is a clear shift of responsibility that is happening. But slowly, by having a lot of awareness, lot of push, chocolate industry is also recognizing that there has to be certain kind of a taking responsibility of what we are doing. So it's the same thing in the fashion industry also, where people are forcing, like there is a lot of documentary awareness that is happening, showing how in Vietnam, for example, or if you go to some spaces in the Southeast Asia where a lot of this production happens, how the entire water bodies are polluted by mass dyeing processes where the fabric is manufactured, etc. How people are getting cancer, but governments are being pushed to create awareness, to create certification. So now when you're talking about the technologies like blockchain, which is being used to create the sourcing materials, traceability, where it is being sourced, so there are platforms. So just the fact that there is a talk in the industry that this is needed, in the sense to introduce these things to bring more transparency, because so far there was no transparency. You would just provide it, and then even if a brand says, "Oh, we are having this section of our channel which is sustainable," they will not tell what is the sustainable. They will just say this fancy Reebok will say, "Oh, we made these shoes completely out of recycled plastic," essentially, but they will not disclose further what is going behind it. So just having the latest technology like blockchain, etc., gives the consumer the right to have this complete thing available on internet or something, and brings more transparency. So only by having these kinds of things and awareness in the social media, things like Instagram, etc., where influencers are creating push for that, I think this is going to change, because brands themselves are not going to change, because they want profit and they want to have the profit coming out. So unless the consumer side starts talking that we want it, and there is a technology side that is making it available to make it transparent, I think that's when the brands are going to change, and that's when the inclusivity, making it more mainstream. And because right now we are in the media age where everything is available, which was not the case say 10 years back.
Right.
So people, I mean, the media houses were controlled by corporates, governments, etc. So now we are in the social media stage, we're in the consumer media stage, where anybody can hashtag somebody, anything can go to viral, and brands are aware of that. They're aware of their social media kind of influence, etc. So they are watching how these things are moving, and only this. And because we have these tools available, I think in the next 10 years there's going to be a lot of movement to move it in that direction, because we have the tools available at a mass scale now, which was not the case earlier. So I think that's moving in that direction.
Right. One last thing about this, and then I'll be done. So when there are new people now, you know, there are a lot of here young aspiring designers and such, and they are trying to create. How do you create new solutions? How would you encourage them to incorporate this idea from the get-go, that they are ensuring that it's ethical, inclusive, and sustainable, whatever the solutions they're offering?
Right. So, for example, a lot of that also goes in terms of how things are being done at the educational level. So, for example, if you look at the institutes of technology for fashion, like fashion design schools in India or abroad, for example, I know some professors from Amsterdam Fashion Institute of Technology, which is in Amsterdam. I have had communication with them. What kind of course curriculum they are designing, what is emphasis in terms of teaching there, in terms of the with adoption of latest technology, etc. So because that is where you shape the young minds in terms of giving them the correct exposure. So I personally feel there, for example, I was at, I think, the National Institute of Fashion Technology's website yesterday, just browsing what are they doing. And I saw that, oh, they have the traditional courses which are being taught in the different ways, like interior design, fashion, blah, blah, blah. But they also, I saw nice symposiums which are being created, which are about AI in fashion, sustainability, etc., etc. So there is also this push that has to come from academia, because that is where students get kind of some kind of impression of what is. So I believe academia has a huge role to play in this setting, simply because they are the gateway between the students and the industry. And there you have to have some courses that are being given to students that exposes students at the early stage to think in a more conscious way. It's like in liberal arts or whatever, you have morality, ethics, and these kind of courses that are being taught. So many people at that age don't value them because it seems like some kind of a tick mark just to pass the grade. But if you can make it more appealing as a medium, as absorbing, and create that correct impression of why this is needed, I think academia can play a big role. And then the professors and everybody who is involved in this ecosystem, by having the correct types with the industry, having the correct guest lecturers, I think that is where it starts. Because once you are out of there, you are in industry, and then you cannot think the way you want, because you are an employee. You are being told what to do, and you have to do what the brand is asking you to do. But before you do that, you have your own freedom in academic setting. And that's where I believe a lot of these things can be imparted as a morality or ethics or sustainability as an emphasis. And I think that's where it can do.
Thank you so much, Mrinal, to have taken quite a number of questions. And we have almost all the participants wanting to ask questions, but I'm not very sure what's the kind of time that you could spare. But we will I think just introduce you to some of the people, and maybe if you have time, just tell me if you can take their questions on live. I'll just share that we have one of the jury members from the panel, which is going to be there, Aditya, who is here, and he's initially introduced to the group. So Aditya Bhatia is a startup, running a robotic startup, and he's a Y Combinator startup. startup. So he's been incubated at Y Combinator, and they are working on. Aditya, would you like to raise the question again? I'm just introducing you right now, but it depends upon whether Mrinal can has the time to respond to it. If not, then we will proceed just to introduce the other members to Mrinal. Janviji is here from our other partner. One of the partners is JD Institute of Fashion Design. And as you rightly pointed out, academics have a big role, especially the fashion institutes, in really bringing not only sustainability, but also the technology induction in the fashion tech area. So we partnered with JD Institute of Fashion Technology, which is one of the leading fashion technology institutes in India. And they've been here in India for over 32 years. A lot of work has been done by them, and they have actually, during the course of the boot camp, there are a lot of sessions that have been taken by them to just make sure that they understand the fashion tech, as well as brought in the students who are working on the fashion tech hackathon. So fashion industry don't really understand the hackathon format so much. So we've had limited amount of success in bringing them onto the platform. But this is a small attempt that we are making to make sure that we can include more and more students from the fashion industry into the so Janviji is here on the chat. I just wanted to acknowledge that Janvi is basically design faculty at JD Institute of Fashion Technology, and she's here on the group. We have Prem Sagar, who is also a mentor and a jury. He has been working on e-textiles, embedding electronics into the garments. So he had taken one of the first sessions, and he has a question. And again, I will leave it to you. If you can take their questions, then I will. But I wanted to introduce him to you. Prem Sagar runs a maker space called Banao. And if you permit, I will share his question. He's basically asking about, can I go ahead? Okay, I will just unmute. Prem, can you take the question online? Prem Sagar?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
audible. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you can go
Good
ahead.
evening, yeah, please. Thank you. So basically, Mrinal, I just wanted to understand, like you mentioned about the fashion institutes and everything. So I was looking at if you can share some global examples and on how you envisage the integration of fashion and technology in the education ecosystem on the larger picture. Because right now, if you just talked about INIFT, I've been working in with NID and other colleges as well. The integration of fashion, and if I look at the talent right now, the third year students, the fourth year students, and their ability to even understand or acknowledge the importance of technology as a fashion designer is very limited, and they generally get very scared of technology per se to do an hands-on stuff with it. So I just wanted to understand from you any global examples that you would like to share, or how you envisage that path, how we can in India as educators, as mentors can take the first step. Already, like many of us might be doing stuff, but
Right.
just wanted your inputs on that thing.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thanks, Prem, for the question. So I will answer this in the context of what I'm aware, what is happening in, say, Netherlands or in Amsterdam, where I'm aware of what is happening in Amsterdam Fashion Institute of Technology, which is where I have been, and I have some understanding of what they're doing. So what I have seen, I have interacted very closely with a professor there who is primarily focused on integration of 3D ecosystem and other related aspects into fashion technology. And what I have seen there is they are always on the lookout for how do you do these kind of technology integrations with the relevant stakeholders, and a big part of that is also different spaces like makerspace, etc., which you are, I think, having essentially. So, and all of these are closely associated in terms of as a ecosystem. So you have the Fashion Institute, which is creating different types of courseworks. Then they have their own lab, which has all this latest technology. For example, they have a 3D scanner, which is body scanner, which has it's like a rig that they have created, allowing you to scan, etc. Then they use also the latest technology softwares. For example, if you look at 3D fashion, you have softwares like Marvelous Designer, Celio, which allows you to create 3D patterns and create a 3D prototype. Then you have virtual catwalk, etc. So there is and then they also like to adopt new technologies. For example, they had asked me how much it would take to buy a completely new 3D scanner, but again, sometimes they have limitations on funds, etc., in procurement of completely new things, so they go for sharing model essentially. But again, the important part is the academia is taking active kind of a participation in introducing the latest things. The latest what I saw from her update on LinkedIn was in the COVID related case in August, they had a complete virtual fashion walk or something of that type that happened there essentially. So this is a dedicated fashion institute which is creating parallel courses, which is allowing students to get exposed. So these students don't need to get exposed at the deep technology level because they are not technology students, but they are, you can look at them as a 3D artist essentially. So who is a 3D artist? An animator. So a 3D artist or an animator doesn't have the technological knowledge of a computer science graphic student essentially, which creates the background algorithms, but he understands how to use the tools or the studios by having different interfaces, by clicking, by using. So the way a normal student uses, for example, if you're a graphics designer, you use Adobe Creative Tool suits, you use Illustrator, you use different type of other suits that come with it, and you know how to create different illustrations, the design studios. Similarly, there has to be emphasis to introduce these relevant tool sets which have direct integration with technology, because that is one of the ways in which you can use direct integration. And then once they are used to this kind of ecosystem, you again use them as a service. For example, if you're using 3D scanning, you can just have a scanner and that's just a tool. You are using a scanner to scan something and you are creating measurements, etc. So what I'm suggesting is train or expose the students at the early stage to the interfaces of technology, not the hardcore tech behind it, by using different integration of these studios, etc. And that itself will create the interest in the relevant, because not all students will be interested in that. But at least some of them will get interested, and then have the correct spaces like maker spaces, creative labs in the same ecosystem where you can integrate these students with deep technology students. And that is where you can see a good integration coming out of this kind of associations to build tech products. But it has to be an ecosystem. So these things cannot work in silos. They cannot be independent. It has to be a nice closed ecosystem at the website level, at the physical space level, at the educational level. There has to be nice active collaboration, and that is where it will go. And I think in India also it has to go in the same way.
Thank you, Mrinal. And Prem, would you like to further have any question, or can we move on? Prem?
Yeah.
Prem, are you still there?
Yeah. I got my answer. Thank you. We can move forward.
I'd also like you to on the program. She has a rich experience in working with the banking community. Prerna, would you like to ask the question? Prerna?
Just unmuted myself. Hi.
Yeah, please.
So yeah, I like the suggestion you made, Mrinal. That if we could introduce interfaces to students rather than complicated things for them, they would end up interacting with technology, which will kind of elevate their experience and the products that they're trying to create, and give them more perspective about what all is possible. Uh, do you have you interacted with the fashion institutes on this front, and what has been your experience of with the students so far to whom you might have made these suggestions? Are they open to this idea? If yes, are they already working on such curriculums?
Okay, so in Amsterdam, I'm talking from my Dutch experience because that's where I have been based for some time now. So I'm also founder of a platform called Science Park Creatives, which is like a platform that I formed some 4 years back to bring together artists, scientists, entrepreneurs, students, etc., to do interesting, innovative projects. We have our own maker lab where you can do 3D printing and other kinds of stuff. You can do prototyping, etc. So during these talks also, I have interacted with students who have come on their own to me, asking for help to integrate different stuff. For example, there was a student who came and used my 3D scanner. I had a 3D scanner to do some scanning for creating some body scans, etc., etc. And he was using it for some personal project, etc. So that was one interaction I had. Then I also had, I have interacted with these professors that I told you from Amsterdam Fashion Institute who visited my office. We had a discussion about different integration, about different things. She was interested in 3D scanners, etc. So they are trying to integrate these kinds of things into their curriculum. And I also saw, I invited some of their students to some of the exhibitions where I was exhibiting by offering the students some free passes. And I saw some reasonable number of students who came just to understand the technology of display technology, etc., hologram and those kinds of things. So I have seen a reasonable amount of openness as long as you are creating good avenues for them to interact with. Because not all of them will be interested, of course, but there will be certain section of them who will be interested, provided you are creating the correct ecosystem to have them there, essentially. And that is, I think, what is important from the institution's perspective, to create these kind of labs. Because in Amsterdam, we have this, it's a very small city with a lot of interesting integration. They have labs, they have media labs where product designers come together, graphics designers comes together. You have dedicated fashion technology. I have interacted with a dedicated fashion technology student in one of such labs who was working on understanding different types of materials, etc. And I had given her some suggestions about different aspects of how to do that research further, and she was quite open to that. So again, what I'm emphasizing is you need an ecosystem where you have different spaces available very close by, where students can move, they can work together. For example, if you're talking about, say, NID, I know how the campus of IIT looks in Mumbai because I have been there many times. I had friends there. I have a very good friend there who is a professor from NID, who did his PhD from IIT IDC, and then he did his master's from NID, and he's a professor there in IDC on scripting, linguistic, etc. So I was supposed to visit him to understand some aspect of it, but Corona didn't let it happen. But I know how IIT ecosystem looks like. I don't know how NID ecosystem looks like as a campus, but I believe it will be a campus which is closed campus where a lot of residential students live. There are a lot of labs. So there has to be some nice synergy between different labs. Which could have a technology lab, which could have a makerspace lab where people are building 3D printing, they are doing some 3D scanning, they are using different types of things. There are some students coming together. If there is another technology institute which is very popular in Ahmedabad or something, they have to interact with them. So it has to be that kind of ecosystem, and there has to be quite strong emphasis so that these different people come together. That is the only way to make that happen, because only fashion design students will not work, because they will be only talking with themselves. they will not understand a lot of stuff. So meetups, hackathons, all these things, so that has to be actively promoted. And I think that is what is happening in outside world, like say in a city like Amsterdam. It is a small city, lot of things, lot of artistic people, lot of technology people coming together, doing a lot of crazy stuff, and that's where things move further. So I think in Indian context also it has to be done in the same way.
Thank you, Mrunal, for taking that question.
Anything else you want to ask? Otherwise, we'll move further. So, thank you very much, Mrinal. This was very interesting in terms of overall perspective. Everybody is interested. See, there is no institute in India that I am aware of that is talking about fashion tech. So we have a lot of interest from people to understand, especially so that's the reason why I actually had more of mentors and the jury members to interact with you rather than the students, because the students have very little understanding at this point of time. And for us to really be because they will be asking very trivial questions, so I thought maybe at the inaugural we'll just have the questions being asked by the people who are knowledgeable about the subject, and will be then sharing that knowledge with the others during the hackathon.
Yes.
So thank you very much for taking out time for us, and happy to really be connected, and we'll look forward to your support during the hackathon in the coming days. We've actually taken the hackathon for a week rather than a traditional 36 hours or 24 hours hackathon, because of the kind of learning that most of the participants need to do to understand how to bring technology, sustainability, and the fashion together. So if there are anybody who has a question, this is your last chance to really type it in the chat window. We also have another very senior textile designer and fashion person who has over 35 years in the industry. Mamtaji, Mamtaji, would you like to take a question? This is your chance to interact with the, I think, Mamtaji, please put up your question on the chat window while I unmute you so that you can take it online. Yeah, you can go now. I have asked.
Hi. Yes, Dolly, thank you for introducing me. Yes, I've been in this industry for 35 years, fashion and textile. In fact, more than 35 years, because my dad was a garment exporter. And before that, he was working with yarn. And then I did textile design, and I started my first fashion brand in 1984. So I've been around, and fortunately for me, I came across, I started working with certain investment banking firms, and in the last year, I've come across a couple of fashion technology companies looking for funding, which are using AI. And there's some great stuff they're doing, especially where we are talking about the measurements and photography, and virtually getting, without a model, getting the 3D experience for websites, e-commerce websites. So because of the fact that I'm working in that field, I've had this opportunity. And it's really amazing, and it's so fantastic to meet you and get to talk to you. And I've visited Amsterdam, and at that point of time, I had my retail stores, and I was like, God, this is a place I want to be there. It's so creative. One of my ventures, when I was designing a website, I looked at the designers from Amsterdam for inspiration. So I'm just happy to be here, listening to what you're saying and what Dolly G has created here. And happy to know that this would get integrated in the education, because it's a need of the hour. anything. I mean, I've just been around for 35 years looking at fashion and looking at now AI and AR and all of that being used. So happy to, in fact, discuss anything. I've seen a lot in this last 1 year with various startups. So as such, not really a question, more of acknowledgement of what you're saying. Yes, it's the need of the hour and it's the future.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So Dolly, in terms of, yes, I hope you can get this across to all the institutes in India, because this is a subject which needs to be added. I hope Dolly is around. Some way. It's okay. This is going to go on for a week. I would like to understand how it can be integrated through you into the colleges, universities. Have you come up with something syllabus? Do you know anybody who has syllabus? This was more of my concern. Is there already a syllabus available for students?
So just to clarify on that part, I haven't really looked into how this is completely integrated into academic setting yet. My exposure is limited to what kind of interactions I have had with students or with the professors from Amsterdam schools, etc. I also know a couple of I know the head of the department of the Amsterdam Fashion Institute. They give talks in these kind of aspects. So I know that there is a lot of active participation that is happening from these schools in the integration of these things with different stuff, and I'm pretty sure they have some concrete way of integration this, because I have seen their students doing these virtual catwalks, virtual models, etc., etc. So I'm pretty sure it is integrated into the academic setting in a proper structured way. It just needs to be seen on their website or something how it is done, or if they have some kind of a syllabus. But again, you don't need to also go to that level. For example, just look at it from the perspective of media animation industry as an example. India is very big in animation industry, and who are animators? They are not technical people. These are just some artistic students or whoever is interested in computer graphics, and they are getting trained on creating the 3D models. They are creating the entire aspect of gaming pipeline, because a lot of these animations or things are getting used in games where you need a bit of technical understanding. But if you're a smart student, you can pick those things. So I think animation industry is a good role model. How do you integrate technology with students who are not from technology background? Because a lot of these 3D animations or these kinds of things are being completely done on tools which are like, say, 3D Studio Max, Maya, Blender. There are tons of them, and there is a lot of emphasis. Or if you look at gaming engines, there is Unreal, there is Unity, etc., where you are integrating some scripting, some computer programming. But if you look at it purely from the modeling, there are dedicated animators which are purely artistic. They are creating textures, they are creating different light settings, and in the process they become interested into technology and they go and understand it more and more better. So I believe fashion tech can take a lot of inspiration. This is some thought that I just got right now while I was talking. I had not even thought about that further before, because I have used a lot of animation students whom I have trained from Europe, from different parts of European schools, from Germany, from France, from Netherlands, etc. I have worked with a lot of them, and they have come to me and I have trained them, and in 4 or 5 months they have learned a lot. They have improved their skills as a student in their final years of bachelor's, etc., etc. So that also becomes important. How do you structure your academic program where you have correct academic internships that are suited in the correct industry, where the students can learn in a practical way? And again, looking at the animation industry, you have there are also some interesting coursework that is being done in the Europe, which is called media studies, in which people are also studying a lot of artistic skill set while they're also having some aspect of programming. So there is a dedicated program which is more like a media technology or something that is being done, in which they are not only technology students, but they are hybrid students. They have understanding of the artistic tool set, while they also have some understanding of programming. So that's also a completely new way of looking at it. So you create a dedicated structure of fashion tech programs, in which you also introduce new technological programming skill set, basics of AI, etc. You hire level faculty, and you not only have a traditional fashion design course or say interior design course, which is more of a traditional way, but you have a dedicated fashion tech course, which is more like a media studies course in animation or European schools, in which the students understand both the artistic skill set, which in this case is more like a fashion design, which is a traditional skill set, while they also understand the technology skill set, which is, let's say, some introduction of AI, some understanding of some computer programming, etc. And then the fashion design schools are then opening a new branch, which is like what media studies in India are doing, where they are creating different kinds of hardcore technology plus media interaction, etc. So I have a sense fashion schools can learn something from media schools, which are focused on this integration, because that is where you have artists and technologies coming together and a curriculum getting designed. So I believe fashion technology schools like NID or NIFT or the JD Institute of Technology can also design dedicated coursework on fashion tech like these schools from the rest of the world, essentially.
Yeah, so it's brilliant. It's fashion, animation, and AI, which we are talking about mixing and creating a course
Right.
that would simply be brilliant. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mamta ji, for sparing your time. I know that you have not been last few days. Thank you for accepting the invite to come for a short while to really interact with us. And we are looking forward to your support and the kind of guidance that you can give to these young people who are participating in the hackathon. And there are a couple of students in the hackathon which have some very, very interesting ideas and wanting to work on trying to see how they can solve some of the challenges which have been posed. So with that, I think we'll end this particular subsection of the program. And thank you very much, Mrinal, for sparing your time and giving us so much of interesting ideas and international perspective, which was currently lacking amongst our this thing. We have a couple of people from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. We have a very senior professor. She has been actually watching it on YouTube because she's not able to really log in on Zoom for some reason. I would be very happy to really kind of because she's working with one of the startups who is also participating, and she said that I'd like to interact more with you, but unfortunately she could not join in on the Zoom link. This is a startup that is creating sustainable fabrics from various kinds of natural fiber, from pineapple to, I mean, of course, khadi is there, but different other products, from banana leaf to banana stem to all kinds of very new innovative fabrics. And this question she wanted me to ask you is that if what is the kind of acceptance to these kinds of fabric, and how you could really include it into the fashion tech area, because some of these the fiber has a lot of strength as compared to the other traditional natural fibers.
Right. So so when you're talking about materials, that's something completely different ball game, because there's a lot of things happen in terms of For example, if you look at if you're looking at a traditional brand which is already using certain material that is being used in their products for ages or etc. So unless there is a massive push from different aspects, either from the consumer aspects, let's say for sustainability or whatever, or from the profitability aspect, these brands don't like to change what they're doing because it's working. They let it work essentially. So anything that is something coming from different kind of a, or if they're getting massive profits because they're changing the material or something like that. So a completely new way of looking at it is, how can you start a completely new line of products by completely scratch from brand? And there have been attempts to do those kinds of things where you are trying new brands which are focused on sustainability, new materials which are more nice in terms of environment impact, etc., etc. And that's where I think new startups are important, because they can disrupt the market, because the incumbent, which are big corporations, big brands, etc., traditionally don't like to do these things, or even if they do that, it's like a small portion of their portfolio which is there sitting just to showcase to the investor or to the audience that, oh, we are doing something on that line. But can they disrupt that in a big way? I don't think so, because they don't care about that. So I feel any new disruption that is coming in terms of these things, if it has a merit, if it has a real good use case, has to be done through a new product, that is through a new startup, because then that's the focus for do and die situation that this company has to make it successful. And in the process, they bring a lot of revolution in the process. But that's, I think, is one of the ways to get these things into market. For example, there's a lot of emphasis of using these sustainable plates rather than using these plates of plastic for reusability, etc. So you using different types of leaves, or I have seen these things like the straws made of bamboo or some other material. There's a lot of push for that. So none of these are being done by an existing company. These are new companies which have brought these products. They have marketed it. They have made awareness about it. And then there is a demand for that product from the consumer. So I believe a strong way to move in that direction is purely by creating new products from new companies. And I think that's one of the good ways to do about that.
That's a very interesting take. I think startups need to really take cognizance of the fact that if they want to be disruptors, they'll have to really create a statement for themselves. They'll have to work hard to really find new sustainable products and bring it into the fore. Only then will the change happen, because consumers are looking for it today. Consumers are looking at, I mean, I just shared a talk last week on sustainability at one of the international forums, and there are 3 expert inquiries being generated from there, where they are looking for these fibers which are sustainable, and the textiles which can be really sourced from India. So that's a very interesting this thing. But when you start doing something, it's a the world, the consumers are now looking at it, and I think it's just a matter of time that the startups have to really take a position as to if they can create some really good fashion statements, good material, good fabrics out of this thing, which are conforming to the kind of consumer demands that are coming up. Right. With that, I'd like to thank Mrinal once again, and we'd like to end this sub-session. Sure. And if there are any other questions, I will probably pass it on to you. We'll take the liberty to really request for your, because we're running out of time for the next sub-session, where we have to interact with all the participants to just appraise them on the session. Thank you once again.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. Thanks a lot for all of you for asking questions, and thanks a lot.
So, So thank you, everybody, for still being on the session. So for the benefit of all the participants who have logged in from the YouTube, we would now actually be sharing the exact format, or in fact, the idea validation session is the next session that we have, where we are basically helping people to come on, all the participants who are interested in asking the questions to the mentors. We will be just introducing two of our other partners who have yet not been introduced, to really give an overview of how you could kind of integrate their products into the hackathon. We have Vivek Rajput from Paytm. Paytm has a project called Build for India. Paytm Build for India. Now this is a project which has a very ambitious goal to really take Paytm technologies to the startup ecosystem. And I would request Mr. Vivek to really take the stage. I have already unmuted you. You can
Sure, sure.
basically share.
Hello.
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. Okay. So good afternoon, all of you. Okay. So I am Vivek from Paytm. So in Paytm, we have started one initiative called Build for India initiative. So on that, we are helping startup, right, for providing some benefit, in which we are providing payment gateway, right. So that is not a standard plan. So in that, we have specially designed one payment gateway for the startup, where we are providing a benefit of zero transaction fee up to 1 lakh rupees of transaction every month for the first 12 months. Okay. Other than that, we are not charging any setup fee, and also we are not charging any annual fees as well. And with that, we also have one program, which is mini app program, which is especially for the startup who are dealing in B2C. Right. So under that mini app program, you can list your brand on the Paytm app itself. Suppose if you have any website, any app, so you can just visit on the Paytm, visit.paytm.com as well for the mini app program, where you can find the detail as well. And also you can connect me on a mail on mobile number as well. So I will send the same in the chat box as well. So for any query related to payment gateway or mini app program, you can reach me anytime.
So Vivek, I would like you to share this information on the mail with us also, so that we can share it to all the participants. And if you could also speak about not only the Paytm Build for India, but also, and if you have some slides to share, you can share them. I have made you a co-host. You can actually go ahead and share your slides. The idea that we are looking at is that see, there are startups and the students both who are there in this thing. Some of them might not be startups, but they are actually into the fashion students or technology students. Now there is a lot of interest that they have in terms of really looking at Paytm as a gateway for starting their e-commerce related ventures. You can tell them about how to really go about it. It would really help them in a big way, because this session is being recorded, and that will be made available to them, to even the people who have not joined in today.
No problem, no problem. So regarding the Paytm payment gateway, right? So I think everyone in that particular participant know about the payment gateway, right? So, but I can share one PDF regarding the Paytm mini app program, which is the recently launched program by the Paytm, which will very helpful for the any startup they are dealing in B2C. So that is very helpful for them. That I can present.
So, and WhatsApp payment also, because Saurabh had shared it to our bootcamp, this thing in terms of how you could really receive the Paytm payment link from WhatsApp directly. So if you could share that also.
Sure. For payment link, we have, suppose if any person apply for the Paytm payment gateway, right? So we are providing some option as well, like Paytm payment link is there, right? Payout option is there. For that, suppose for example, if any person create any account on the Paytm website for payment gateway, so on the same dashboard, he will get the option for other tool as well. Like Paytm payout is there, Paytm payment link is there. For that, they need to apply for that so that they can be avail that benefit as well. So that is the additional benefit, right?
Yeah, in any of the mentors or any of the participants wants to ask any question to Vivek on Paytm integration. Otherwise, Vivek would be available as a external resource person who would be available to us during the hackathon. And if anybody has any problem, they can shoot out an inquiry to the support within the week of the hackathon, and we'll try to really get it resolved. So anything else, Vivek, you would like to really share, or anybody who has a question, please type it in the chat window so that he can take it live. If anybody has any question on the chat window, Mamta ji, would you like to really ask something for the payment?
Okay, so I think it's visible now, right?
Right, it's visible.
So that is regarding the Paytm mini app. So we have around 550 million registered user on Paytm app. Out of that, we have 140 million active user on monthly basis. Correct. And also 10% of customers use the app in regional language. We have different languages option as well. Okay. So what is the purpose of mini app? So that number 140 million is the active user of Paytm. So suppose if any student or if any starter is going to start their business, so they need to create any website or they need to create any app as well. So we require only PWA of the app, of the website or of the app, which we need. So like you can see that we have shown one example over there. You can see that there are some logo visible over there. You can see on the Paytm app as well, the same logos. So we will listing your particular brand over there. So that will be I'm so sorry. Yeah, so that will be visible like that. Okay, so you can check that a particular app. So we will list your particular website or app on the Paytm app website. So the 140 million active user can visit on your app or your website without login on your particular website or without using your app. So they don't need to download your particular app from the iOS or from the Play Store. So they can able to use that particular service through the Paytm app, and they can also buy the product as well. If you have any service related to product, here. And also we have one option for many option over there, like they can make the payment. So for listing, we are not charging any charges. Correct. If any person make the transaction through the Paytm app itself, then there's some charges will be applicable. You can visit on the visits.paytmapp.com as well. So I will share the link as well for the Paytm app and for the Paytm website as well, and I'll share my mail ID and my contact number as well. So you can connect me anytime for any query. Right, so we had like feature search option is there. So we have some categories as well, like we have restaurant category, fashion and design category, and for recharge we have separate category. For news, for regional things, we have separate category as well. So our target is reaching 10 million mini app program maybe by the end of the 2021. Right, so we are planning for that. So we have recently launched that program. So for the startup, that is very useful thing. So they don't need to go to the market for the marketing purpose. They can directly visit on the Paytm app. They can share the PW of their website or their app, so they can avail that benefit. If anyone you want to ask any question, they can ask.
I had a query. So if I get it correct, that Paytm will allow any app or website where is it related only to startups?
Right. Suppose if any website you have, right, it's not for the startup only. That Paytm mini app you can for the, suppose for example, if you have any company which is not lie under Startup India plan, then they can apply for the Paytm mini app program. That is for all the person who have any website or any particular app. It maybe is transacting one, or maybe it's a non-transacting one as well.
So either, it doesn't have to be transactional.
Correct. Suppose for example, if you have any website that is providing for the information website, like any newspaper.
Yeah.
Correct. Like any, for example, you can take any example of newspaper. So they can also list over there. So for that, we are not charging any charges.
So this listing is free. And where is this listing visible to a Paytm user, a normal user? Where do they see this listing?
So when you visit on the Paytm app, on the home page, you can, when you scroll down, you can able to see the some option of mini app program.
Okay.
Right. When you click on the mini app program, on the categories why you got the option for category. So you can select any one category which you want to avail the service, or if you want to buy any product over there. So you got the option. So there are so many partners who have registered with us, right? So you will get get the name as well, and you will able to see the logo of the particular website or particular app as well.
So do all the users of Paytm know that this mini app option is available?
Right. Maximum know about that, and also we are starting the promotion of that thing as well. So right, because we have officially launched maybe 1 month back. So that's why.
Okay, because I have not seen any I mean, I'm a Paytm user, but I didn't know this existed. So it's a very typical question that does this really exist in our people?
That's right. Because we have recently launched it.
So we list ourselves for free, and then if we sell or we earn from it, any transaction happens, then we have to pay you, is basically what you're saying.
Correct.
So it acts as a directory of information.
Correct. That is, you can say that there is some kind of marketplace where you can list your product, or you list your particular website or app, because we require PWA. We do not require your website, or we do not require your app. We require a PWA of your app or website that we will use as a replica. So you will get one dashboard as well where you can able to check the transaction as well.
I see. So the dashboard also comes free with it. No.
Yeah, that will under that plan, right? Suppose if any transaction would be made through your particular mini app program, then only charges will be applicable over there, because we will charge the charges on the transaction value or the particular amount.
And that I've got transactional charges are there.
Yeah, I'm just sending one particular link as well of mini app program of the website. So anyone have any doubt, you can visit on that particular website.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else has a question? Karamveer, do you have any question that you would like to ask face to face with Vivek?
Yeah, I'm there.
Karamveer? Tamanna madam, would you like to really ask a question? I wanted to introduce you. Yeah, Karamveer, are you taking the question? I think we have a connectivity issue. It's not able to really connect online. But
So that's why I share my mail ID as well.
Yes, I think we will. So he is one of the participants in the program, and we would like to really. So he's put the why don't you, Karamveer, if you can just ask a question again, if you can try. I have unmuted you. You can just ask the question.
Not audible.
Why don't you type the question on the chat box and I will ask it to him. So while we wait for him, anybody else? Prerna? Yash, are you still there? If anybody has a question? Yeah. Tamanna ji.
Sorry, I just lost the screen. Yeah, Dolly ji, you called me out.
Yeah. So very warm welcome to the program. So we have Vivek from Paytm, and I thought I'll introduce you to the entire audience who is there. We currently have mostly the mentors and the jury members who are associated with this program. I wanted to introduce them, and since you have joined, I thought I'll introduce you also to the audience. If you could just introduce yourself briefly to the audience as a representative of I Am Khadi, as well as our well-wisher as to what you're doing, and especially introduce Hatke, because that was something that I had already talked during my presentation earlier. So please.
All right. You're asking me?
Hello.
Hi, Dolly ji.
Yeah. Please introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Prerna. I've got a decade of experience in product and portfolio management roles. in my last few roles, I managed e-wallet and online gifting products, besides leading strategic initiatives for a shared mobility startup. And it's great to be part of this fashion tech hackathon, because I've not heard of such an initiative before in India. And it's heartening to see the participation Dolly G has been able to get for this hackathon, given that it's so novel in its approach. And I love the entire concept of holding a lot of boot camps before starting the hackathon, because you end up warming up students to the idea of using tech and leveraging tech for producing fashion products. So I really appreciate that idea.
Prerna, since you are going to be one of the mentors for the hackathon, uh, uh, if there are any questions from the Paytm side, if you could just interact with Vivek, who's here. He might be leaving shortly. So if there are any questions that you think are necessary for us to understand to really help the participants, if you'd like to ask something more on either Paytm Build for India or Paytm's use by the participants or for the mini app, please feel free to ask, because
Sure.
yeah.
Thanks. Vivek, so Dolly ji had told me earlier about the initiative that payment gateway will be provided for free of cost to the students
Yeah.
participating in this hackathon. Do
Mhm.
you have an online site or somewhere on the internet where people can go and find out what are the products, all
Yeah.
the range of products that Paytm offers for entrepreneurs, and what are the current charges?
Sure. So I'm dropping one website of business.paytm.com where anyone
Okay.
can check.
Yeah.
And for the startup plan, I can do one thing. I can share one proposal mail to Dolly. Okay, so she can share a mail to everyone who had attended that particular webinar. So they
Yeah,
can
that would
able
be
to, and
helpful.
also, I also share my personal my mail ID and my personal mobile number as well. So if any student or any startup, any person who are attending that particular webinar through particular Zoom or through the YouTube as well, so they can also can reach me out for any query.
Right.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Prerna, for taking this thing, because we none of the other mentor panels has great experience on the payment side, and but that's the reason why it invited you to really be around, so that you can possibly take all the inputs and be the point of contact for all integration of the e-commerce as well as the other
Sure,
Paytm
happy to do
services.
so.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Dolly, I wanted to tell one more thing. So if possible, if you can share the mail ID, right, of all the attendees or all the participants. Like currently we have 12, so maybe average is around 20 plus participants has already joined. Right. So if you
Yeah.
can share me mail ID of that, so I can share the same benefit to all of them. Right?
Yeah,
So they
so
can also
this
share the
is,
same.
so they're all on the panel, and we will be really happy to take them on this thing. So I will share.
Right. Sure.
I'm sorry, I had a problem with the connectivity right now. There is Karamveer now available on the call to take the call? Karamveer, can you try again, please? Hello. Otherwise, I'll read out this question.
I already replied.
Yeah. Acha, you've replied to him? Okay,
Privately,
fine.
yeah, that's why it's not visible.
Just for the benefit of others, the question that Karamveer had asked was, can existing APK be ported to PWA if Paytm App Store allows any privilege? Direct porting, also monetization model different from existing stores. So Vivek, can you just quickly respond to it? Because we have people who have joined in from the YouTube channel, so they will not be in a position to see the chat window. Kindly.
So no problem. So for example, if any person have already one APK or planning to launch APK, so they both want treat as in the same way, right? So we require only PWA for your existing website or existing app, or for the coming app APK as well. Suppose if you don't have any Play Store app, right, then you can share PWA that. We do not require any APK. We do not require your Play Store link. We do not require your website. We require only PWA. It may be existing one, it may be new one.
So I think that makes it clearer. We will always be actually having the support of Vivek. So anytime Karamveer, you need any help and support, you can always contact him directly or through us, whichever way you want to. We'll be happy to really share the details. We now have another presentation which is lined up, and unfortunately the person who is supposed to really come up, he is not able to log in. I'm just trying to really see if I could facilitate that. In just 5 more minutes, just give me 5 minutes before we really. This is one of the sustainable fabric manufacturer, as well as they are working on sustainable products. So I am requesting them to really just talk about what they are doing, so that any participant who would like to, he's also participating in the hackathon, but the interest of others, people can actually integrate their product into their hackathon. So that's the reason why I wanted to introduce them onto this chat before we really close for the session. Just give me 1 more minute. I think somebody would join in from there. They are all waiting for us to really invite them into the session. They've been watching it on the YouTube channel right now. Just give me 2 minutes. Huh? So in the meantime, if there are any questions, please put them in the chat window. And if you want any specific person to answer it, they can answer it. You can just tag that person that you want the answer from. So while we wait for our friend to join in from Hatke, I will just for the benefit of all the others, we'll just quickly give you indication of the mentorship this thing. So on the website that you have, you will be able to really kind of get the indication of all the participants in terms of who have been allocated to you as far as the program is concerned. So depending upon, by evening, we will really have most of the participants to be allocated the mentors. So by 24th, we have to make sure that everybody has an idea validated and put up on the site. So that is the most important, to be sharing their idea, as well as a mentor assigned to them for validating that idea and putting up the video presentation. By 24th evening, we will close the idea submission and the idea this thing, and then onwards you can interact with the assigned mentor. Anybody who is wanting to really have any query could interact with the assigned mentor after taking an appointment with them. The appointment would be booked through the Slack channel or through the email ID for either the support at Incubate In or at smartedgeteam@gmail.com. So either of the two, you could just send in your request and we will collate it and provide the time to interact with them. So the basic structure of the program is that it is all completely online, and there would be a dashboard in front of you. So you are requested to really periodically check your dashboard for any inputs from the participating the organizers, so that they can keep giving you the feedback on any of the programs that are going to be held during uh, the various sessions which are going to be held during the course of the hackathon. And also your mail IDs are with us, so your the requisite mails will also be going to you. But the most important medium is going to be your dashboard. So please do check your dashboard frequently. We'll give you sufficient time to really plan for your sessions. So as for right now, 24th is the time that we will be having another session based on this thing, and 24th is also the AI conference. So anybody who is working on any AI based uh, project, they should attend this conference. You have a lot of freebies for participating in the AI conference, including course vouchers for Coursera on doing a course on AI, and of course you'll be getting badges to attend the AI conference alone, and certificate to attend the course, the AI conference itself, which is for the students. This is a very valuable input that they can really put on their CVs. So we now have our next guest speaker who is going to be just sharing with you. So let me, I'm just allowed to enter, and he is Manoj from a company called Hatke, which is into sustainable fabrics, and uh, is a startup. Manoj, are you ready to really take the take over? I
Good
have.
afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Yes. So, good afternoon, everyone. And as per the introduction that's already been given, the name of our company is Vedic Incarnations India Private Limited. Our brand is called Hatke. And I have a very brief presentation that I'd like to put it up on the screen out here to enable you to understand better about what do we do. Yeah. So, you have to just bear with me for a moment, please.
Manoj, your bandwidth is low. So if you could just shut down your video, and your screen can be shared.
Okay.
You will not have a
All
disruption
right.
in this thing.
I will just
the
do that. Just yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Just 1 minute, please. Yeah, I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Is this screen visible to all? Can you all see the screen, please?
Yeah. The screen is only for your
Okay.
this thing. Your deck is not yet up.
It's not yet up. Okay, because I've started screen sharing.
Yeah, but the screen is sharing.
The screen is not visible.
The screen is showing the directory of your Vedic creations decks, but the deck is not.
Yeah. Is the deck hasn't come up? Okay, just 1 minute, please. Sorry about it, but just give me a minute, please. Has the screen come up now? Or is it showing the
You're
directory?
in a different window. I think the window is wrong right now. You just
Okay. I'm so sorry about this. I'll have to just close this and start it afresh. Just 1 minute, please.
Right.
Hello. Am I audible? Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
And is the screen visible?
Your screen is still showing the previous screen. That is your directory of Vedic creations decks.
It's still showing the directory.
Right.
Oh, I see. Okay. In which case, I think I'll have to make do without the screen sharing. Just speak extempore about the work that we do.
Right.
So good afternoon once again, everyone. Yeah. Good afternoon.
Can you just stop sharing this page? Can you stop sharing then?
Yes. Yeah. So I've stopped the screen sharing now.
I think there is some bandwidth issue at your.
Okay. So has the screen sharing stopped now?
No, I think I will. I
Can
will.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So I'm stopping
So
it from
can I
here.
just speak, please?
Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
Maybe what you can do is, you can just don't look at the screen, please, but just pay attention to what I'm going to say. Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. So the name of our brand is Hatke, and we started our company about 5 years back with the objective of providing domestic and global market linkages to Indian folk art forms. So we all know that India has a rich variety of folk art forms. We have 15 folk art forms, and we have very talented folk artists who work in their respective geographic clusters, and they create works of art using these folk art forms. But because of sheer lack of work, also the presence of too many middlemen, and also the fact that even though these folk artists are talented in their folk art, but they do not have a sense of what would sell in the market, they were not able to project folk art in the proper manner to the global markets. And that is where we stepped in, and we started hand holding them through a team of designers that works for us to help them create products which would find a ready market, not only in India but also overseas. The range of products that we have includes apparels, handicrafts, and lifestyle products. Now, there's a lot of innovation that we lay the emphasis on because we feel that folk art is a very intense subject. There's a lot of history attached to it. There is a lot of meaning that is attached to it, and that should come to the fore when we are selling any product or services that's been created using folk art as the base. And therefore, we lay a lot of premium on conceptual and thematic innovation. And when I say conceptual and thematic innovation, what I essentially mean is that folk art is all about storytelling. So there's a lot of story, there's a lot of meaning that is behind folk art. We bring that to the fore in our products, and our products actually showcase those stories, that genesis, and also the various meanings that the symbols and motifs of each folk art form project. And this is done in a very aesthetically appealing manner, so that the product has its own irresistible mass appeal. This is so far as the thematic and conceptual innovation is concerned. Another thing is that we lay a lot of emphasis on environment, and we feel that our product should be sustainable, and as a result, the material that we use to create our product is sustainable. Just to give an example, when we speak of apparels that we create, the fabric that we use is organic fabric that is derived from plants. And when I say plants, I'm actually referring to the yarn that is derived from banana, eucalyptus, soya bean, aloe vera, sugarcane, milk, rose petals, and the list actually runs much longer. The yarn derived from these plants is woven into a fabric, and that fabric is something that we use to create apparels, which is basically currently we are using it to make shirts, and we're using it to make face masks. Face masks we started at the height of the pandemic earlier this year, but shirts is something that we have been making using this organic fabric for a while now. The beauty of this fabric is that it's very light. It is an ideal wear for both summer as well as winter. And its natural color also is quite elegant. So if you leave it plain, if you don't get it dyed, in its natural form also it comes in various shades of white, but then those shades are really very elegant and very stylish, and these actually can be used to create apparels which are designed as per international standards, and which is what we have been doing. Depending upon the markets in which we have to sell our products, we have actually been designing the style of the products, keeping the taste of the consumer in mind for those respective markets. A variant that we have added to this is that we have started dyeing this fabric with Ayurveda herbs. And when I say Ayurveda herbs, I'm referring to turmeric, neem, tulsi, manjistha, aloe vera, indigo, rose, and several other herbs which actually constitute Ayurveda and which enhance the therapeutic property of this fabric. So fabric by itself is organic. On top of that, if you use Ayurveda herb to dye it, it sort of adds to the therapeutic property of the fabric. So that the user, the person who's wearing this fabric, either in the form of a shirt or in the form of a face mask, is forever inhaling or is ingesting health and not chemicals. So that is actually our tagline, that you use our fabric to wear apparels which are made out of it. You end up not only enhancing your looks, but you also end up breathing health. And then yet another variant to this is the subtle folk art that our talented artists carry out on this fabric. Now, what we do is keeping the aesthetic appeal of the fabric and of the apparel in mind. We get a subtle touch of folk art hand painted by our artists on this fabric. Yeah, and then we create those shirts and face masks or whatever it is. So this is basically sustainable fabric that we have been using, and because of all these innovations, we actually become Hatke, and Hatke, as you know, means we are different. And this same story of innovation also carries on to the other product categories that we deal in. So not just the apparels, but even handicrafts and other lifestyle products that we deal in. We actually bring to the fore products which are created using sustainable material. And there again, we sort of use our own imagination and our own creativity, using the folk art forms to the optimum extent to create products which will be unique. And also our firm belief is that in this era of post-pandemic, the discretionary spending of consumers has come down. So people are not so much open when it comes to spending on non-essential items. So impulsive shopping has come down, but it hasn't gone away completely. People are still spending money on discretionary purchases, but then if they have limited amount to spend on discretionary purchases, they actually want to spend that money on products which are different, which are innovative, and which can actually, so to say, form part of a collector's edition. So if you're an art lover, you have a collection of novelty products, you would definitely like to pick up these products to enrich your product basket. And another unique feature of this is that all the products that I spoke about are pocket friendly. So it's not that these are very expensive products which are beyond an average buyer's pocket. It is very much within everyone's reach. Yeah. So this is basically the array of the products and services that we are dealing in. And I encourage you to go to our website, please, which is www.hut-k.in. And I would request the organizers to also provide the website address should any one of you may require it. Please visit the website, and there you would get to see the images of the products that I just talked about. So you will also get to see the fabric that I've spoken about, the sustainable fabric. I think that is something where a look and feel would definitely help you to understand the multiple uses that the fabric can be put to. So that is from my side. So please do visit our website, and also take a look at the product catalog that we have put up on our website to give you an entire array of the products that we are dealing in. Yeah. If there are other queries, you can just reach out to me. My mobile number is 8800184857. I just repeat, 8800184857.
You can type that in the chat window, Manoj.
Yes,
and both your website address as well as your mobile number.
I will just type it. Yeah. So
the idea is that we could encourage the participants of the hackathon to really use these links to really enhance their offering within the hackathon, so that they could use some of the sustainable material from Hatke.
So thank you so much. We look forward to receiving your comments and your feedback on our products and on the material that we are using. It will be definitely wonderful to connect back with you. Thank you so much.
So I'm actually inviting you to really be a part of the hackathon as the whole process goes. And the next couple of days, you already have logged into the platform and you've registered yourself. But I'd encourage that if you could interact more with the participants on one-on-one basis, so that if any one of them, I will also try to really share all the people who are working on the sustainable fashion area, so that they could probably try out the products that you have and maybe use them as a part of their hack. The whole idea is to really create a sustainable ecosystem where we are not just participating for winning, but participating to really bring about the necessary change that we need to really get into sustainable fashion. So thank you very much for your short presentation. I apologize if there was some kind of communication gap in terms of the link. So we are not able to really log in properly.
Thank
And
you.
if there are any questions to Manoj, please type it in the chat window before we really conclude the session so that he can answer it live. Otherwise, you can always reach out to him at the given numbers.
Sure, that will be wonderful. So if there are any questions, I can take those up right now. Or as ma'am suggested, you could even send me those questions later on as per your wish and convenience.
Anybody, Mamta ji, if there is anything that you would like to ask Hatke, because you are a textile garment expert, if there is anything that you would like to ask him in person before we really end this session.
Yes, Dolly, it's a topic of deep interest, and I already was thinking what all I can do with them. So I would connect with them, and I am very happy and very happy to know of the Ayurveda herbs being used as colors. And yes, I have worked with organic fibers made from banana, etc., etc. And it's really nice that somebody is doing it at another level and adding as he's mentioned, I'm really happy to hear what they're doing, and I will connect with them.
Yeah. So Mamta ji is on our mentor panel, and she'd be available based on her convenience because she was not well. I haven't formally put her name on the this thing, but nevertheless, we will be definitely kind of getting her. Mamta ji has about 35 years experience in the textile garment industry, and as a fashion brand as well as actually running a store and many other things, including organizing fashion shows and so we're deeply connected into the fashion world as well as into the export through her father's initiative. So thank you, Mamtaji, for being around, and thank you, Manojji, for being this thing. So that brings us to the end of this inaugural session. We will actually have the next session somewhere where there is a formal webinar based interaction, more on 24th. And all the other communication would be through the dashboard channel of the link that we have already shared, and most of you are participants. I will have to really give an access to all the mentors to the channel. So bear with us for today. Today we've been using this particular webinar only. And from today later on, we will get onto the Slack channel or through any other communication means that is most convenient to everybody. So till then, I think will take leave. Just to summarize that this is a hackathon not only meant for just doing a competitive kind of program, but for actually bringing about change. And we are happy that in today's session, we had a very senior person from the fashion tech industry in Netherlands join us here, and it shared some valuable insights. We've also had some of our partners talk to us. We'll now close this session. If anybody has any comment or any particular this thing, please let us know so that we can incorporate that into our program. Our program is going to be running from today to next Sunday. Next Sunday, we will be actually having the evaluation round, which is more towards really trying to find out which are the projects that can be taken to the next level. We are not intending to end this thing at the hackathon. We want to really create products and companies as a result of the hackathon. and not stopping here, but to accelerate them into the world of fashion. Thank you very much for being there. And with that, I'll take leave, close the session today. Thank you all to have participated for the entire session.